Hey there, everybody. Welcome back with the Plat. Purplatypus is the name. Welcome back to another Dragon Quest Tact video. Today, we are going to talk about talent blooming. Now, is this going to be a guide? Is this going to be I don't know. I know I've had some questions about, not me personally, people have had questions about talent blooming because they've been out of Tact for a while and they're coming back. Surprisingly large amount of people actually have started coming back with the 2.0 update. But I just want to kind of explain how it works, how you gather the resources, and then I'll quickly go over what I think the priority list, at least personally, what my priority list is for the talent blooming. I'm not going to rank them all or anything, but just kind of, it's a limited resource, and so how I'm going to be spending it. Also, can I just take a quick second to say, Dragon Quest Tact is really fun right now, and I don't mean like it's just like, oh, I'm having, the grind's not too bad. Like, I'm having a good time, it's not bad. I'm like, this is genuinely the most fun, like, the last week or two is the most fun I've had with Tact since release, or since even, ever, probably. Even more than on release. There's just, like, a good amount of things to do, and all the things to do are pretty fun. There's a large variance in challenge levels. You can go from way too, like, mind-numbingly easy if you just want to grind something and get some shit, to, like, that middle ground where it's like, all right, you can't auto it, but, or, it would be hard to auto it, but you could beat it pretty easily if you take over, to kind of on the hard end where it's like, this fight's pretty tough. I got to actually think about it in my unit. So there's just a lot of good right now in Tact. And you've been away for a while. I do think it's a good time to come back as well, as I'm just having personally a really, really fun time. Now let's get into talent blooming. First, you'll see on the home screen here, if you're playing this at the current event, these quests, I do recommend doing these quests ASAP. This will give you this resource. These are talent blooming resources. We will go into exactly what they do, but just know that the flowers of all rarities, the purple flowers, the silver flowers, the gold flowers, and the iridescent flowers are all very, very important. These are going to be used for ultimate abilities on talent blooming. The only difference is, like, the silver is used for anything below an A rank. The gold, well, maybe, I think it's everything below an A rank. The gold are used for A ranks, and the iridescent are used for S ranks. But you need all of them, just in general, if you want to use talent blooming on stuff. But let's go ahead and jump into it here. Talent blooming is actually called talent blossoming. It is called talent blossoming. All right, that's my bad. All right, so basically, the only way to get this resource right now, well, first let's go look. What is talent blossoming? Let's start with what is it? If you go into a character, even better, let's go into a character screen first, like this. Certain characters are going to have this thing called talent blossoming. All characters have this on their character sheet, but only some of them will have it selectable. Dragon Lord is one of the ones with a talent blossoming. If you want to see easily how to see all the characters with talent blossoming, if you go to the party screen and hit talent blossoming and pull up this screen, it'll show you every unit that has it, right? Even if it's maxed out, it'll probably show up here. But yeah, the grayed out units don't currently have talent trees. I don't think there's a way to sort by just these characters, but you can see that there's a couple at the top of each one. All right, so these are all the characters in the game currently that have it, unless there's like a banner unit that I don't have, but I don't think so. I think there will be talent blossomings I don't have in the future, but since I had Dragon Lord, I think he was the only banner unit on this one. So I'm gonna use Squadzilla as my example unit because a lot of people probably have him. So we're gonna come in here and take a look at it. It is this skill tree, all right, and you're gonna see so far they all look identical. They all have a bunch of stuff. There's a lot going on here. The basic thing to know is that in the center here, these are all going to be your base stats. Like, these are always the same for everybody. And then as you go out, you're going to have, attacks. These are just a bunch of passive abilities, basically, right? They change a little bit per character, help and reinforce their strengths, maybe make up for some of their weaknesses. But the important thing is there are 4 kind of 5 ultimate abilities. If you look at these right here at the very bottom, these like special star ones, these ones are super, super strong abilities, right? And these are the ones that take the super special iridescent flowers, right? So all these other ones you can see will take different kinds of sticks, basically. And we'll go over how to get those in a second. We're just kind of going over what it is first. And so I said 4, kind of 5, because there is one right here that is an ultimate ability, but it's usually a lesser ability, not quite as good. But it is still pretty good. But this one is another one that this one will usually be a considered ultimate ability. These ones do happen to be the same on this character, but they're not always the same, I don't believe. But it looks like these two tend to be stat improvements. Like on quite a few characters, they seem to be stats. But on a lot of the characters, the one up top is the one that's probably most important. Not necessarily in every situation, but a lot of times this is the one you're going to typically want. So far, this has been new attacks. On all the characters, I believe this is their new attack spot. And so having a new attack is very good, and a lot of times it's what makes a bad unit a good unit in these situations, or it makes a good unit even better in the case of Dragon Lord Squadzilla. Over here on the right, this one is usually like this one is kind of weird. I think this one is typically a damage buff. This one is typically like a super cool passive. This one's typically stats on the left, and the top one's typically an attack. Let's go compare it to Dragon Lord really quick, if I can see if that's kind of exactly how it works. No, see, this one's another passive, recovers MP, but the other ones I think follow the things, right? A new attack, Dark Pillar, a new super strong passive, and stats, right? No, okay, Dragon Lord just doesn't have stats on here. He does have HP 50 on that one, and this one is another kind of ultimate. It's basically stats, right? This is kind of like MP, but it does raise the damage a little bit too. But anyway, that's what talent trees are. As you get these things awakened, so there's two aspects to it, right? First, you unlock the unit, or you unlock these things with the use of the branches, the use of the iridescent orbs, and when you unlock it, it goes to level 1. And for the super good attacks, this is the wrong character. Actually, you've got 6,000 talent points. We'll use you. As you unlock it, it'll automatically go to level 1. In the case of the ultimates, like attacks, that's all it goes up to, so you're good there. But all these other ones that have like these passives, right? MP1, HP1, you can actually upgrade these with the talent points that you get. And you get talent points by using the character in fights that cost stamina. So I'm just going to go here, go to max. And so I have 6,313 in the top right corner. And there we go. Now I'm down to 4,000, but now I've got a little bit more HP. And you can kind of just go through and max these out. I'm just going to max these out right now. And so this is what talent points are for. I wasn't sure what talent points are for at first. I was like, wait, are they how you unlock things? They are not how you unlock things. They are specifically upgrading the things that you have unlocked. I don't know if I think it needs to be a separate currency for it. I don't love it, but there is a new daily event that will get you talent points. And it gives you a pretty good amount too. But you can see even after upgrading all these to max, I'm still gonna have a decent amount left over. But to be fair, I've been using this guy in literally everything. So there we go. All right, so that's what the talent blossoming is. You know, you can take a look at all these characters, see which ones that you like. I'll go over my personal list later. But how do you actually get this material? How do you get the sticks? How do you get the flowers? You're gonna come down here into extra, and you're gonna go to the blossoming door. Now, there is currently some campaigns going on, right? Like, if you come here and you can take a look at the special missions, right? You can get some extra flowers. That's pretty cool. I think there was some, like, missions and daily stuff that you could do to get some extra flowers right now as kind of like a launch celebration. Also, you can come down here to the party member meeting spot, which is incorrect. You come over here to the Medini metal swap shop, go to the gold Medini metals, and you can buy 2 iridescent flowers a month. They take 10 each, but that is very big for people that are day one that have had a lot of dupes on A units. This is going to help us get through the system much faster. So remember to get 2 of these a month. At least I think it's probably a wise investment of those tickets. Unfortunately, there are no other ones available at any of the other stages. I hope they had like branches or something to one of these. I think that would be nice, especially on the silver ones, because I don't want to use the silver ones on any of this stuff personally. I might use it on the iris eventually, but that's beside the point. Extra blossoming door. So that's some of the ways to get it. And then the other way is every month this resets. This is like a tower, kind of. It looks like a storybook, I suppose, but you know, it's essentially a tower. You start at level 1, and every month it resets down to level 1. And when you clear the stage for the first time, you get a big chunk of resources, or you know, not a big chunk, but you do get a chunk. And I think it's every 10 levels. It's like 5, 10. I think it's every 5 levels. You're gonna get the super stuff. So you need all of the resources, right? Like my current issue. Sorry, my eye itches. My current issue is I have too many of the flowers, and I don't have enough of the sticks. Sorry, to get to the spot that I could use the flowers on. But why is, one second here, let me mute this. Let me mute this really quick. Zoop zoop. I don't want you to look at my text messages. There we go. All right. But yeah, so as you can see, I'm up to level 20. These get really, really, really hard, so don't feel bad if you can't get them. I think people typically get stuck on 17 or 18. There's one with, okay, I don't think it's 17. I think it's 18, and then 19, 20 are all really hard. 18 is kind of like the hard stop for a lot of players. I know people start having difficulty at like 15, 16. 18 is like a stone wall for a lot of players. And maybe I can make guides for these in the future. And then I'm currently on 20. I think I could beat it, but I'm not quite there yet. I'm actually strengthening up my team. But as you can see here, the first time you clear it each month, also you get gems for each time you clear it each month. But you can see here, you're gonna get flowers, you're gonna of all 3 rarities, and you're gonna get sticks of all 3 rarities. So these are big ones. This is like the only way to get this resource. And so the further you can get here, the absolute better, because it's a finite resource. You only have so many of these stages you could do. And you know, time is a finite resource, so all resources are finite, I suppose. But try to get as far as you can. And I would definitely recommend looking up guides. I'm gonna look up guides for rank 20, and I'm gonna try to push to 21, 22. I think it goes up to 30. 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. It goes up to 40. So I don't know how hard 40 is, but I bet it's fucking incredibly hard. I don't know if, so the thing is about Tact, at least typically the way it's gone so far, is that the ceiling on how strong things are is typically not pushed that much over time. I know that like fights get harder over time, units get stronger over time, but a lot of times like things will be quick to get to that 20 to 26,000 difficulty of CP, and then it kind of stays around that area for the most part. However, if this stays at the rate, this could be at 46,000, so who knows. But there is a chance if you could push past 20, each stage is going to be about as hard as 20, but with a totally new strategy, difficult in different ways. Still equally as difficult, but maybe not progressively walking upstairs anymore. Maybe it's more like it evens out. I don't know. I haven't gotten that far yet. I'll let you know. But that's basically how you get the resource. When I say basically, I mean that's literally how you get the resource. There is not another way other than you could probably come to, I'm sure there's a set item here. Yeah, look, here's this right here. And this is super, I don't recommend spending money on this. It might be worth it, surprisingly. But with the 2 a month of the other flower, I don't know. This doesn't seem worth it. The thing is, this the talent blooming is more powerful than awakening, or than than ranking up. Like, I know you need an orb to rank up, but typically the new abilities you're gonna get from these flowers are even better than what the orb gives you. So that's pretty crazy. But the fact that this doesn't give you any of the other things, it just gives you the flowers. It doesn't give you any of the sticks that you need to get to the spot that needs the flowers. I kind of feel like you might be in a flower overload if you do all these. Maybe I'm incorrect. Maybe I spent all my sticks too early on different characters. Like, I've almost completely done with slime. I think I am completely done with 2 other units of the easier ones. So I may have spent my resources unwisely, not realizing that they all shared the stick resource. But now let's quickly go over what I think is the objectively correct way to spend your points after I just talked about how I misdid it. So one thing to keep in mind right off the gate, I don't think any of the A's are very good. I don't think any of them are bad, but I'm not, like, maybe Gigantus, but it's like, I'm not really, they all seem kind of like boring. 180% physical damage to all enemies in front. Yeah, like Ultra Stomp is like pretty good. I'm just taking a look here. Raises move by 1. I mean, that's like pretty good. Oh, there's one over here. I actually didn't see this. HP by 40. HP by 40. HP by 40. Agility by 30. Agility by 30. All right, so this, like, the thing is, it could be really good. It's fucking boring, right? And that is not what I like out of my talent blooming. I'm not gonna do him. But like each rarity will require different resources, right? For their super abilities, at least. You can see I'm almost done with this guy because I actually think this guy's insanely good. But you can see here, these take the gold flowers. Okay, so B rank also does take the gold flowers, but also I didn't think the A units were very impressive. So maybe I could have saved, but I actually think this unit is ridiculously good. I did rank 7 him. I do need to finish awakening him to really get the max out of him, but I think this unit is pretty ridiculous. And he gets stronger as he approaches death, which is actually probably a little sketch. But yeah, just keep in mind that, like, you can come down here. Let's look at slime, because I know slime uses the B thing because I've looked at it. So you can see he uses a lot of poopy sticks, but look at this. I'm waiting right here, so close. I want him to be maxed out so bad. But yeah, each of these things will use, see, this uses the silver one. It kind of looks like the iridescent, but it's not. Don't worry about it. So you can kind of do different rarities, is basically the whole reason I'm bringing this up, is you can do different rarities of Talent Bloom and Awakening. And honestly, Slime, for the auto arena, Slime has been fantastic. He's literally been the reason I've won multiple fights. He's been the difference. Like, because he does like 300 damage and he's only 5 weight. I mean, you could bring some fucking heavy hitters and have a really good 5 weight. This is not about arena, but I'm just saying Slime I think is a pretty good resource. But what everyone cares about, where you spend the money on, is the iridescent stuff. What do I recommend out of the S ranks? So there's kind of, there's 3 minds of thought, right? That I basically is, do you want to make a good unit even better? Do you want to make a shitty unit usable? Or do you want to kind of do a middle ground and make a semi-okay average unit better into a good unit? So I have erred on the side personally of making already established good units even better. Not because like I don't want to use my bad units, but it's because it's a finite resource, and for Dragon Lord's a perfect example, right? I already use Dragon Lord in a fuck ton of content, tons of content, because he's my best Frizz user on my team. So I use him all the time, and making one of my best units in my whole account even better, to me, was far worth it than using Metal Dragon, who I already have been making. Like, I haven't awakened a Metal Dragon at all. That's not saying I don't want to. His missile is insane. His missile is apparently insane, but I already don't use Metal Dragon, and I'm making it through content. And so I found it to be a better use of my resources to use my already established units that I use and increase their power. But I could definitely see if you're like, Dragon Lord's good enough. I already have Dragon Lord and I have a Stark, so maybe I don't need the giant dark Zam attack that this gets. By the way, Dark Pillar is a Zam attack, which is very good. Maybe I don't need that, and so maybe you're like, I need a Metal Dragon, I guess, because what else am I going to use? Maybe I have Sorrow, so I don't need Squadzilla, and Prism Peacocks probably still suck, so let's do Missile. Like, I understand that train of thought, and I was thinking about that as well. And you'll have to let me know how good it is, because it's very expensive and it's a limited resource. Don't get me wrong. These would all be fully talent bloomed and being used if I had the resources to do it, but I don't. So I personally, my order of importance was Dragon Lord, number 1. And that's Dragon Lord because I have 0 strong Zam users. I don't know if Overkilling Machine does it, but I have a Stark, but I don't use them because I don't like a Stark. But the point is, I don't have strong Zam users, and I was like, I wasn't gonna prioritize Dragon Lord because I thought this was another Frizz attack, and I'm like, kind of who cares? But this is a Zam attack, which immediately made me get it, because now he has coverage and he's useful in basically twice the content that he was before, and he was already good. And it's a fucking sick ass ability that's super strong with an incredible range. All right, so I prioritize Dragon Lord first for his attack. Outside of that, his other stuff is good, but I don't think it's like top tier priority. It's all stuff that I want. But if we take a look at his other things, sorry, I'll go jump back in here. Right, like a slightly lower MP cost and slightly increased damage, that's cool. Occasionally recover MP, I mean, yeah, that's cool, I want it. And this one here is heals a major amount of HP and greatly raises wisdom for 3 turns when his HP drops below 75% one time. That's the number 2 top priority for him, because that's insane. But still, at the end of the day, he doesn't get hit that much, and he does already a lot of damage. And so I didn't feel like that was necessary to just max out a unit, because I could try to max out a unit. So I personally went with Squadzilla next, as again, same exact philosophy. Squadzilla is already established, and I use him in almost all the content in the game, honestly. I use Squadzilla every single time I get an excuse. I love this unit. And he literally is over twice as good as he was before. And as you get more talent blooms, he's going to get even better. But I prioritized again his ability because it adds a huge, his toolkit expands greatly. He now has an attack, deals 240% potency bang type physical damage. So it's not the greatest damage attack. It is good, but it's not the greatest. But it moves him up to 4 spaces. And for Squadzilla with a movement of 2, this is fucking lit. It's so good. Plus, it actually has been really good where if like there's 3 enemies and you can't move past them, you still can hit 3 enemies. You can hit an enemy 3 tiles away. This is incredible range on a unit that has shitty movement. And it does good damage too. It greatly brings a skill set together. Now there's a chance that this is not as good as his ability at the bottom here. I'm just taking a look what these are. I think it's the best ability, and I would get this one first because obviously I did, but this one also is pretty insane, and I think it's close. Action start. If HP is 100%, greatly raises move. This brings his move from 2 to 4 movement. And obviously when combined with this, it's insane. But I think that this could help him get closer to his better attacks faster. So I think that could be good, but still, the movement at 100% HP, I ended up thinking is not quite as good as the torpedo tackle, personally. But this is, again, this is my priority list. Yours might be different. So you can kind of see what I'm doing. I'm doing established units that are already good, and I'm getting their attacks. And that's honestly all I've really had the resources for, right? I haven't yet done Prism Peacock. I don't personally have an interest in him. I know that he's probably good, but he's one of these units, like him and Metal Dragon are both units that are bad and not used in any content at all, like literally ever, other than like a Sorrow's Peak style event where I have to use 5 different teams of 5, and one of them might have whoosh resistance where Metal Dragon can technically get through the fight. Like he's like okay on that stage because I'm limited in the amount of whoosh units I have. But outside of that, they might be insane now. It might literally be broken. But I'm not willing to dedicate my limited resources to figuring that out yet. When as other players do it, that's probably, you know, and they're like, oh, you got to get Metal Dragon, he's actually broken. Then I'll probably lean towards doing that. But I still want to finish establishing my units. Now, I've kind of avoided talking about Great Dragon because he's not there yet. But I definitely do plan on getting Ice. Also, Great Dragon is like my pet perfect unit almost, because he has all this breath potency. He increases Dragon breath potency. I really want to get him to go along with Orochi once I unlock Orochi. I still haven't. And Halbertsaurus, you know, or sorry, Arenasaurus. I don't know if that's Halbertsaurus or not. But increase all their potencies. Then he increases his own crack type breath potency 20%. You come over here, raises move by 1. And then you come down here, raises crack potency, right? Breath potency. And then over here, he gets a brand new Dragon Lord style attack, which is just this awesome, massive, big attack with all this breath potency and a leadership ability that gives him 20% breath potency, which will make the other breath of the other dragon stronger as well. He's like, I want to do a dragon breath team really bad, and this has to be the leader for that team because he's by far the best leader for that team. So I do want to prioritize him, but it's a little bit hard because I still don't think Ice, as good as it probably is, increasing his kit, it's still a crack breath on a crack unit that already has a decent crack breath. And I don't think that's as useful as making a melee unit way more mobile and have the ability to attack multiple targets, or a established one of the most powerful units in the game having a whole new insane super attack that's like a Stark levels of good. And that's my personal list. But again, when you're going down here, these you don't need to think about as much. Be careful with your stick consumption, as obviously I wasn't. But these things you could do a bit more freely. And another unit that I kind of do recommend, both these C units are broken. Honestly, I think both these C units are kind of broken, and I love it. I love C units. It's my favorite rank in the whole game, and I'm not lying. It's like genuinely more than S units. I love really good C units. Because Dracuma has been like my favorite. I love underdogs, and they're like underdogs, and so when they overperform, it's like my fucking favorite shit ever. But let's take a quick look at these last 2 C units, and then we'll end the video because I'm just kind of rambling at this point. Deals 195% physical damage to one enemy and occasionally envenomates. This is occasionally is not the word that I want. I would like frequently, but still, this is very good. Envenomate is very powerful, and this already does 195% physical potency at level 1. Keep in mind, all these abilities can be upgraded, not through the talent tree, but over with tomes. And he's already got his attack is pretty low. I won't lie there. You're definitely hoping to get that poison, but this is just a better version, right? He has a poison arrow. This is just a better version of the poison arrow. It's got a range of 3. Range of 3 targeted envenomating is insane. That's very good. Not to mention that you can have this guy safely behind a cover tank and be able to easily envenomate a target, or, you know, easily make attempts. That might be how I do Orochi, actually. Might have to get this. Raises poison success rate by 10%. One of the most easy to get with poison units now in the game, right? Like, poison, I assume Envenomate falls into that poison category as well. I don't know, but I'm like 95% confident. When attacking with a physical ability, rarely poison. So now they just have a chance to poison sometimes. Like this, and remember, if you you do poison, then you poison again, it becomes envenomated. Raises attack by 20, raises attack by 20. So this unit has become a poison machine. I love this unit. This unit is so fucking cool. I love poison tip arrow kind of, you know, flavor. And that's all this unit does. He already has Reign of Pain. Reign of Pain might even give him, when you attack with a physical attack, this might be 4 times, has a chance to occasionally poison. And look, you can see what I used in this guy before was his poison arrow. Deals less damage, look at, and it occasionally poisons. This is more damage and it occasionally envenomates. And every attack is just gonna have a chance to envenomate anyway. So even if you miss the envenomate, you might get the poison based off your passive. And both of these have 10% chance to proc anyway. So I think this unit is actually potentially broken, genuinely. And let's not forget Dracuma, who is another one of, I honestly think is insane. So he gets his ability, which I think is fucking insane, is he gets compressed boom. Now this is the exact same damage as boom, but it's 1 target instead of 5, but it gets an additional range of 1. So a range of 3 is huge because boom has a range of 2, which is kind of poopy. So this has targeted range damage, which is very, very good. I love this attack. But more importantly here, what he gets is he gets increased sleep success rate by 10%. I have plus 10. How much, you know how much I use this unit? I have this unit so much that I have snooze at plus 10, right? Like the 20% chance of sleep is so important. And if enemies are weak to it, it already lands guaranteed. So now if enemies aren't weak to it, you have literally, I mean, 10% better chance. So the plus 20%, let's say occasional is 35, you might be at a 65% chance at no resistances to put enemies to sleep. And I'm not even done. Now, when attacking with a spell, very rarely you can just put an enemy to sleep. Now, the reason why this is so powerful, I know very rarely it's not going to proc that much, but spells don't wake up targets. So once an enemy's asleep, you can now attack them with your compressed kaboom. Like you could snooze someone at range 3, put them to sleep, attack with compressed kaboom, and now you have a chance to put them into a deep sleep with your attack. That's really good. And if it doesn't put them into a deep sleep, you could then snooze them again and put them into a deep sleep. And now sometimes when you're just attacking to deal damage, you're randomly going to put things to sleep. What, 15, 25% of the time? Probably 25% of the time, 1 out of 4 attacks because of this extra 10% here, right? Like that's crazy. And then he also gets a little more damage, which isn't great. This guy's damage is fine, but it's mostly being able to do chip damage while also being able to put targets to sleep, which is an incredibly powerful effect, especially when you have a caster / breath team. So these units are kind of broken, and I do recommend investing into them. But that is going to do it for today's video. I hope I cleared up talent blooming. I know this is a longer video than I intended. It's a half hour. I did not know where I was going to go with it. Didn't have anything specific, but you know what? I had a good time. Guys, thank you so much. Purplatypus is Purplatypus. I will see you next time. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. Let me know. I will do my best to help you out. And anyway, see you guys in the next video.